Alright guys, part 2 on torque boxes. This one's in, that one's in. Don't buy these. Alright, well, I know I said I wouldn't film anything over here if it wasn't worth it, but basically I have the same issues on this side as I did on that side. Don't fit. I've already had to modify this some. I rebent this flange just like I did the other side. Part of the reason I have to rebend this flange is because when I put the convertible rails in here, that actually added some thickness to this over what a factory convertible would be, because these pieces, these new pieces, are thicker than the original, and the fact that essentially this piece here is the the big flat inside one. Well, I have two of them because I have the original one and I have the one that's on the convertible rail. So you've got much more mass and material there. Thickness builds up. So you have to rebend this in order for it to tuck over. And I would say that's a little more than an eighth, give or take. Now, I've got this thing sitting in place, and as you can see, don't fit. I'll get you in a little closer so you can see that. Now, I apologize for the lighting, but it's kind of hard to light in here, so I've just got a floodlight down here. It's just black hole. Now, as you can see, I've got a mark here. I can see a mark here. I've got another mark here. Some of this has to do with just the way I'm going to do this, but if I kind of hold this into place, and obviously I've still got a gap here, and you can see this is not even remotely close to being up here. If I slide this down, no, it doesn't fit better. It doesn't work. You slide this down, the bottom ends up hanging way out the back. Just nothing. It doesn't work, So the plan here is that I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to rebend, or at least come up with a ballpark area to where to rebend that. And to do that, cardboard. This is actual, well, thin cardboard, not corrugated box. There is a difference. Now, this is some practice crimps I was doing here, but essentially that there is the piece that we have. And if I put that into place, and this upper mark here is going to line up with that, and you can see where this piece would end up, and that's just not even close. It ends up way up there, and it's not going to work. Now, if I move that down to here, to this next mark right here, and I hold that there, that puts me pretty much in the ballpark. Now, obviously, my bends are kind of out of place because I've been playing with it, been messing with it, but that lines up pretty good right there. So, what I will do is fix my bends here. And so now if I line that up to there, I put this here, and put that there, it magically lines up pretty nice. So what I've done is measure from the bottom of here to, I believe it was 5 inches up. I'll double check that. That way I've got a place to index from. I'll go from here 5 inches up. I'll go the same place on this 5 inches up. Making sure to deal with any of the the movement in this piece. It's going to go like that. And then I'm going to take this, go over to my existing piece here. Let's see if I can get that in screen here. And essentially rebend that. Rebend it in more so in that way. You see where I've got it come down to. And I'll do this a few times, and I'll redo it, do it and redo it, and see make sure it's right, make sure I'm doing this right, and make sure I have that all in the right place. It wouldn't surprise me to cut it too short. I'd rather cut it too long and cut it again, but things happen. But obviously if I put this in the stock position, that just doesn't fit at all. So I think here is going to work okay. And a little bit of fidgeting and fiddling with it. And I don't mind if for some reason this ends up a little bit too low. That's fine. It's not that big a deal. I'd rather it be too low than too high. If it's too low, I can seam seal this joint. If it's too high, I've got a big gap up there. So that's what I'm working on, and Yeah, it already bit me earlier. Keep your fingers away from the hammers. But yeah, I'll get to working on that, and I will modify this piece, and I'll show you how much I cut off of it to make that fit. All right, well, I have no idea what's in frame because I'm trying to do that remote thing with the GoPro, you know, that does your phone, so you can look and see what you're filming. It worked one time, now it doesn't work. I tried a different phone, still doesn't work. Yeah, my hatred for GoPro is starting to, it's coming back again. It's really coming back. I think next time it will be the DJI. Everything that everybody said about the DJI says it just works. It doesn't have all the features, but it just flat works, doesn't crash, doesn't do weird things, just works. And it's cheaper than, you know, way cheaper than the other ones. Just, yeah, that's what I would go with again. But anyway, all right, hopefully you can see this. But what I've done is I cut this little tab off here. I just made this as a, that's where I'm going to bend it. I've made that flat, so I'm going to rebend this right across here. And maybe you can see that. All right, here we are after some more beating and bending. Now, I changed the angle of this one just a little bit. I actually brought it down a little, brought this down a little, and then I tightened up this one a little bit. Now, we're sitting pretty good over here. We're loose over there just because the way it's kind of hanging out of place, because it's just one clamp holding it. I am pretty close over here just as it's sitting. Down here that's hanging, I expect that. This doesn't line up, or, you know, and my leg's in the way. You know, that doesn't line up or diddly squat. But if I move that up, that changes stuff over, you know, they get the angle that's here, this angle works here. I can fiddle with it and get it really, really close. In the whole scheme of things, is it worth it? No. What I will do is put a little slit here, and I'll take this and I'll shove that back up, and see how that angle there, it will, I mean, I knocked it loose now. Ow, 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 hit my finger. But I'll slit that, put that up into place, and then as it goes up and rotates in, it'll be nice and tight against there. I'm just going to trim that extra off of there, trim it off, call it good. I will fill this gaping hole here, as well as this gaping hole that I can put my fingers in over here. I will do the same thing. I'll add some material on and then trim it off. That actually lines up really surprisingly good right now. And if I push this into place, it actually lines up perfectly after I rebent these. At the back here, you can't see it, but there it's about that much off from the inside piece is forward. Wasn't trying to hit you in the face, but the inside piece is a little bit forward. It's fine. It'll all weld up. It'll be good. This right here is not touching there because I bent the crap out of this here, bending it out in order to make it easier to get this thing in and out. And I'll push that back over when I get to that point. And I'll put a plug weld here as well. Just do it just like the other side. But that's what I had to do to make this one fit. Which this one actually went quite a bit faster than the other one, because basically the same kind of things on this one that the other one needed. But this one here, instead of me leaving this higher and cutting off, I just bent it over, you know, changed the angles and made it line up again. It doesn't matter which way you go, it works either way. It would probably be a little stronger if you had that corner up here. If that really worries you, drill some more plug weld holes along here and weld it here so your welds are closer to the angle, to the edge of it. You know, in the whole scheme of things, to make a difference, probably not, because I mean, I put convertible rails in here and these things here, and it's quite a bit stronger than it ever was originally. Not stiff as it could be or should be, but it is going to be far better. But my next step, and I'm not going to film any of the rest of that because it's the same stuff as the other side. I will just go ahead and prep all this, do my little pieces, weld those in, just like the other side, and I'll show it to you when it's done, because, you know, you guys don't really care about that, you know, that welding and cutting, and I don't think you do. But anyway, show you back when I'm done here, and maybe if I'm really feeling good, maybe it'll actually be painted or seam sealed or something. We'll see. Well, alright guys, this is where I'm going to call it quits for messing with this video and messing with this torque box for the moment. I you know, added my piece here, added a piece here, I added a piece there. I should have made that longer to reach up into there. I didn't. So it's going to be just a little more seam sealer. You're just going to have to live with it. And I got to go back. I got a lot of welds that need to be ground and taken care of. But I'm not really worried about a lot of the cleanup work and a lot of the touch-up work until I get this thing in a rotisserie, or I build a rotisserie and get it on there. It's just when you get it in a comfortable position, it just goes so much faster and easier. You do a better job. But anyway, you can see that it's not exactly where I want it, but if you look at this, you can see how much that seam used to be way up here. It used to be way up here, and I had to move it down to here to get it to fit. Now, if I were to take and twist this a little bit, now this is perpendicular, you know, vertical. This is vertical. They're both you know, this and this are parallel to each other. This thing is not bent. I'm not even going to go into that again, but to make this fit and have this piece to line up here, I would have to twist things a little bit. I'd have to twist this flange over here, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth the hassle and the headache for something that's just a structural box. And once it's in here, nobody's ever going to see it. Who cares? So now some of my welds over here are really ugly, and that's because, against my better judgment, and like I've said before, is I don't like to use weld through primer. Well, the other side, all these little edges here, on the back sides, I went ahead and, you know, cleaned them. I put epoxy primer on there, put it back on, you know, did it, welded. Every weld this was perfect. This one here, I decided, I just wanted to get it done, and so I sprayed the back side with some, you know, that spray primer. And I had a heck of a time with, you know, arc stability, porosity, you name it. I may make a short little video talking about why not to use weld through primer in the future. But don't use it if you don't have to. It's garbage. It makes your welding go so much worse. I mean, this is just, you know, horrible. I mean, I don't even want to get any closer because you guys can see how bad that is from here. You know, it's just, it made welding so much more difficult. You know, over here, no big deal. No big deal. These, I didn't have any over here, so when I did, it's like, boom, boom, you know, plug weld. No hassle, no issues, just did it. All the rest of them that I had the primer anywhere near it was just a nightmare. It just did not go well. So, anyway, it's on, it's welded everywhere. I'm calling it quits. You know, there's going to be enough, you know, rambling and stuff in this video anyway, but it's on, it's there, and you can see just how much I had to move. I mean, that's easily 3/4 of an inch there to get, and it did line up nicely there, and the bottom lined up pretty well actually. But yeah, don't be afraid to just rebend this stuff and just make it work. Nobody's going to see it. The stuff on the outside that needs to be pretty, make it pretty. So I don't know what the next video will be. I have no idea. It might be on that over there, and I know it's not a car video, but that I had to do the exhaust camshaft on it, which is kind of a typical thing for a Kohler, and I already made the video on it. I just need to do like a little bit of intro, outro kind of stuff, you know, ooh, fancy names, and just post that video. That'll be a long one. Most people, if you're interested in that, to watch, you know, see how it's done for the most part, great. If not, it's just meant for people that are going to find that useful. But anyway, call it quits, and see what the next video is.